Hello, friend. On Constancy. That is the title of Book 1, Chapter 29 of the Discourses of Epictetus. I have chatted the previous 28 chapters already on my channel, so I will link to those chats down in the details below. But this one is called On Constancy. Again, this is just sort of my thoughts and impressions from this chapter. I am definitely no scholar of Stoicism, but just my thoughts and impressions. So, I think is a good place to start with this is to a definition of constancy. So I looked that up and I see the definition. There are two different definitions: the quality of being faithful and dependable, and the quality of being enduring and unchanging. So I think it's good to keep that in mind when we start this discussion of constancy. The discourse, though, is kind of divided up, I think, into three basic topics. The first topic that's discussed is the essence of good and evil. And Epictetus says the essence of good and evil really lies in the attitude that you have in your inner self about what's happening to you. So your inner self is that which is constant, or at least we strive for constancy within our inner self. This would be like our inner strength, right? How you react to how you react to the external things that happen to you in your life really determines what is good or what is bad. So your inner self values if your inner self values these external things too much, it can throw you off balance. It will, that is a bad thing. These external things like money, power, even bad things that happen to you, like misfortunes that happen to you, if you put too much stock into those rather than your own inner reserve, your own inner strength, that is a bad thing. So the case is made again, Epictetus makes in this first section, about only really worrying about those things that you can actually change and not worrying about those external things over which you have no control. For example, if a tyrant imprisons you, you might not have any control over that, right? A tyrant can come and take you away, have you taken away in the middle of the night and put in prison, and there's not anything you can do about that. But how you react how you react in any given situation is something you do have control over. So that is the good, and that is the thing that with practice you can maintain some level of constancy. So then the discourse moves into a discussion of what he calls right judgment. So the noblest, he says, the noblest law of the universe is basically, let the better always be victorious over the worst. So let the better be victorious over the worst. But what is the better? The better, in his term, is the right judgment. The one who has the better judgment is the stronger, and in the end will be victorious. So the right judgment, this is, again, how you're reacting to a given situation. So if you are, the judgment that you're exercising, like you have the ability to detach yourself from these external things and to see them for what they are. Things that you have no control over, there's no sense in worrying about or spending energy on. And so you would have the discipline, the judgment then to let those things go and only really concern yourself with those things that you do have control over, and using your judgment then to use your energy and your resources to affect those things. That's right judgment, I think, is what he's trying to say here. So he talks here about, there's a quote here that I thought was really kind of cool. One body is stronger than another. The majority is stronger than one. The thief is stronger than he who is not a thief. That is why I too lost my lamp, because in the matter of vigilance, the thief was a stronger man than I. But he bought his lamp for a price. For a lamp he became a thief. For a lamp he broke his faith. For a lamp he became a brute. This seemed to his judgment to be profitable. So the thief is not using right judgment. The person who lost his lamp might have wound up getting something stolen from him, and it's an external thing anyway. The thief, you might not have had any control over the thief actually stealing your lamp. And once it's gone, you're using your right judgment in that, oh, well, it was just a lamp. You actually come out victorious because you are using better judgment, if that makes sense. The discourse then shifts into a discussion of action, what action should be taken in the world, and can we actually impact others' judgment? Should we even worry about right judgment in others? And Epictetus says no, that really, isn't it enough to worry about your own right judgment? Because that's work enough. Doing your own work on yourself is enough without needing to worry about trying to change others. And that if you run into someone whose opinions aren't going to be changed, then you just need to accept the fact that they are who they are, and you just need to really just keep your peace about that. And then he talks about learning right judgment versus action. So the way you actually develop right judgment, the way that you develop constancy is through practice. And he talks about wrestlers, how a wrestler, if he's in practice, a wrestler would get upset if he's given a practice opponent that's smaller and less skilled than he is, because he won't be able to learn as much, right? He won't be able to practice as much. So if you come across life situations, each situation needs to be dealt with, these external forces that happen to you, and you need to practice using right judgment in order to develop that skill. So, learning this kind of philosophy in and of itself is fine, but then actually learning it in order to put it into practice is what Epictetus is saying is the more important thing. So, when faced with something difficult, Epictetus says, we've all been put into a certain situation. In the modern era, we have our job, we have our family, we have our community, we have these different stresses and strains that we may have in our lives. We have our own unique situation that's really unique to us, and it's that situation. That's our work. That's our exercise field. That's what we need to work on to develop our inner selves. The situations that we find ourselves in on a day-to-day basis. And that will be what will develop constancy in our inner selves. Okay, I think I will leave this chat here. The next chapter is chapter 30 of book 1, is called What a Man Should Have Ready to Hand in the Crises of Life. So what do we need in the crises of life? We'll find out what Epictetus has to say about this in the next chapter. Until then, take care. Bye.